many Muslim women, the way their Ramadan plays out is their sleep is extra compromised because they have to get up earlier to prepare nourishing suhoor in the early morning for their families. They are serving people, and then they're trying to get to Taraweeh in, and they're trying to do all of these things. And how do we do that in a way that's really beneficial for everybody? Not just for everybody around her, but for the woman herself. And so, I've heard people, when they talk about what women should be doing in Ramadan, they'll say, well, she should just tell everybody, they should just have a simple meal, and it's time to be zahid and abstaining from stuff, and why are you asking for samosas, and why are you and so so the woman gets into this kind of like militant mode. I'm going to get this most spiritual benefit out of this Ramadan, whether anyone likes it or not, and that is unfortunately not the best way to make sila with people. Sila meaning bonds and nurturing relationships. That's what sila means, right? So there's the idea of silatul rahim, or making bonds between your family relations, your blood relations, and then there's sila with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So the salah, our prayer, comes from the same root, right? As the name of the Salah initiative. So what we hope to do at Salah is to really kind of reorient ourselves in a way that helps us see that there's a lot that women do in our lives, or that we are expected to do in our lives, that is very much going towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it's just a matter of intention. It's just a matter of intention. So if there is a woman who, she has children and she has a lot of responsibility, and yet she is, she wants to be doing her fast and focus in her prayers and do all her stuff, and then she has to cook and she has to serve people, how can she really make that meaningful? All it entails is an internal shift. It doesn't necessarily entail an external shift. She can still be feeding people. In fact, feeding a fasting person is an act of immense reward that the Prophet ﷺ told us about, right? And who are the people who are going to be feeding fasting people? Generally, it's going to be women. I mean, it'll be the men. They get the reward of spending, right? So the men are concerned about having an income for their families, and and how do I save this much money, and they have their own kinds of concerns that they might be worried about, or they should be worried about, and then the woman is the one who's doing the physical work of actually getting the food out there for the fasting people, right? So if nobody says, aside from the fast and the Taraweeh, which is a strongly recommended sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, aside from that, there isn't any specific thing that is required of the believer in Ramadan, right? You don't have to do 8 khatam or 10 khatams of the Quran, like you complete the whole reading. You're not required to do like this much of any other thing, right? Every single one of us could be doing raking in the good deeds and the multiplication of the good deeds of Ramadan in different ways, and it's just a matter of how we intend it, what kind of intention we make. When I make those omelets in the morning for my family, what intention am I making it with? And that all becomes ibadah if it's a good intention. So that kind of a way of discussing it would be something I think that Salah could do.